Hey guys, this is a video walkthrough of the two bosses in Zone 2 of Forever. The bosses were a bit of a headache, especially Munster Chuck, so I hope this helps someone out there. I also did the same for the first three bosses for Zone 1, so if you're interested or you're stuck on one of those, check that video out. If you're interested or like the video, don't forget to subscribe, it helps a lot. If you have any comments or questions, don't hesitate to comment. I also stream almost every day MMOs, RPGs, and this kind of content, so don't hesitate to come say hi, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Alright, Munster Chuck time. Munster Chuck is the boss inside the Cheesy Station in the northern part of Exod. This is how you get there. And let me tell you, this fight is infuriating. The mechanics themselves are actually pretty simple, but between the trains, the poison puddles, the knockbacks, and some very questionable bugs, this can easily become the most frustrating fight in the game. The entire encounter is built around space management and positioning. You're constantly trying to avoid getting slowed or stunned while dodging incoming trains and keeping enough safe space to continue the fight. The fight alternates between two phases. Phase 1 starts immediately, while Phase 2 happens every time the boss loses 25% HP, specifically at 75%, 50%, and 25% HP. As soon as the fight begins, Munster Chuck uses his poison cheesy spray attack. He flies up and covers one large rectangular section of the floor with poison cheese, while leaving the other areas open. To avoid this mechanic, simply stand in a safe section, then move into a previously covered area once the poison disappears. Getting hit applies a poison dot for 6 seconds that slows you, and that slow is the real danger here, because throughout the entire phase, trains constantly pass through the arena on the 3 railway tracks you can find on the floor. If one of these trains hits you, you will usually just get yeeted off the platform. Sometimes you can recover with a glide, but this is why avoiding slows and stuns is way more important than the damage itself. Ideally, once it comes down, you want to fight between 2 train tracks whenever possible. That positioning gives you safer movement options while still allowing room to dodge mechanics. Munster Chuck's last phase 1 mechanic is a bomb toss. He throws an explosive at a player that leaves a circular AoE on the ground. Move out before it lands, or you will take damage and get stunned for 2 seconds. Again, the damage over the stun isn't terrible, unless a train happens to be coming. One extra thing to watch out during this phase is that the boss himself can interact with trains in a weird way. If he gets hit, sometimes he just gets displaced or knocked back a little, but other times he gets carried by the train to the edge of the arena and just goes on a stroll, or even resets the whole encounter. So whenever possible, try not to position him directly on the tracks. At 75%, 50%, and 25% HP, phase 2 begins. Munster Chuck flies away to another platform and the regular trains temporarily stop. Then a final train enters the arena carrying 2 adds. The adds themselves are fairly simple, using auto attacks and an AoE knockup. While dealing with these enemies, the boss starts throwing poison cheese projectiles onto the floor. Try to stack these poison puddles on one side of the arena, because this platform gets reused later in the fight. Poor placement here can make the later phases much harder than they need to be. But combined with the poison zones, the limited space, phase 2 becomes one of the most dangerous part of the fight in terms of raw damage. So focus the adds quickly, while keeping the arena as clean as possible. Once the adds die, jump onto the train to chase the boss into the next platform. And this is where the fight biggest mechanic appears. The train bug. Editing Nishali here with a quick disclaimer. They've actually just patched out these bugs. Trains currently go at a much slower pace, so it should be a lot easier to get off the train and not to get yeeted off the platform. So yay! Okay, from my experience, the safest way to survive the transition is to simply walk off the train once it reaches the next platform. Jumping off often resulted on getting launched straight into the void for no reason, so I just don't risk it. I try to walk off every time. Try to figure it out yourself. Some people say jumping earlier works for them. Some people actually use the knock-up to just get into the platform gliding. It's just really weird and hopefully gets fixed soon. There is also another issue with the trains while you're going from platform to platform, and it is very likely that you will experience some rubber banding while in the train. So pay attention, and if this happens, don't jump too early or walk too early. Once you arrive, phase 1 starts immediately, and every single time it starts, Munster Chuck opens with a poisonous cheese spray. So keep that in mind and don't use your major cooldowns as soon as you arrive into the platform because they most likely will be wasted. The fight keeps alternating between the two arenas. From 50% to 25%, you return to the first arena, including all the poison puddles left there from the first phase 2. Finally, from 25% to 0%, you return to the second arena with all the leftover poison from the second phase 2. Once you reach this last phase 1, the amount and speed of trains passing through the arena increases dramatically. And this becomes the most dangerous part of the fight, since one silly mistake can cost you the fight completely. So keep focused on the trains and dodging to finish the fight cleanly. Overall, the boss isn't mechanically difficult, but it punishes mistakes extremely hard. Most deaths happen because players get slowed or stunned or cornered right before a train arrives. Focus on positioning first and then damage second. Stay between the tracks, keep the poison puddles controlled, avoid unnecessary stuns, and once you learn the rhythm of the trains, Munster Chuck becomes a lot more manageable. Queen Honeyzabeth is the boss inside Honeyzabeth's hive trap, located all the way east in Ness. This is how you get there. The fight is split into two phases. First, you fight her 3 elite bee guards, and once they are defeated, Honeyzabeth herself joins the fight. One important mechanic during phase 1 is the feeder bees. Since Honeyzabeth starts the fight at 50% HP, small feeder bees constantly spawn and walk toward her, healing her if they reach her range. These adds are never your main target, but you should always try to fight the elite bees on top of them, so your cleave and AoE damage kills them passively and limits how much the boss heals. Once phase 2 begins, no new feeder bees spawn. However, any feeder bees still alive from phase 1 remain active and can continue healing Honeyzabeth, which is why controlling them early is so important. While the elite bees are active, Honeyzabeth stays in the background, charging the orange bar under her HP. Once it fills, she casts Devastation, a large AoE blast that knocks players back and deals more damage the closer you are to her. If you are struggling with surviving the encounter, create some distance whenever the bar is filled. Now, let's go through the elite bees one by one. As soon as the fight starts, Prince Beliams becomes active. His main ability is Swift Step, a rapid combo attack ending with a stronger final hit. Everything he does is blockable, so stay aggressive and burn him down quickly while positioning him near feeder bees to clear them at the same time. Once Beliam dies, Prince Beatrice activates. Her main mechanic is a healing zone she casts immediately on pull and then every 20 seconds afterwards. Avoid fighting inside healing circle and especially avoid letting feeder bees stand in it. After defeating Beatrice, Prince Beater enters the fight on pull and every 20 seconds after he casts Honey Barrage. He flies onto the air and fires honey projectiles at marked areas on the ground. Move out of these areas before they land or you will take damage and get slowed. Also, instead of normal auto attacks, Peter uses Hive Smash every few seconds. This is a heavy AoE slam that damages and slows in one hit. Keep moving, avoid the slows, and once again try to position him near feeder bees so they die naturally to your AoE damage. After all 3 elite bees are defeated once, they will all respawn together for the final part of phase 1. At this point, all the mechanics will overlap. You have to dodge Honey Barrage, keep enemies out of healing zones, block as many incoming attacks as possible, and continue clearing feeder bees whenever there is chance. Focus the elites down one more time as quickly as possible to activate Queen Honeyzabeth. Once they are defeated, phase 2 begins, and Queen Honeyzabeth finally becomes targetable. She enters the fight with whatever HP she managed to recover from the feeder bees during phase 1, which is why controlling these adds earlier is so important. But Honeyzabeth stops casting Devastation, making the fight much simpler. From here, it becomes a straight DPS race. Honeyzabeth's main and only ability is Honey Smash. She slams the ground and creates a burning zone around herself that deals constant damage to anyone standing inside of it. Every cast permanently reduces your safe space, so before each smash, reposition immediately and continue damaging the boss. The longer the fight goes on, the more the arena fills with fire, eventually leaving almost nowhere safe to stand. Stay mobile, keep clearing feeder bees whenever possible, and burn Honeyzabeth down before the room completely fills with fire. Overall, Queen Honeyzabeth is more about control and consistency than difficult mechanics. Managing feeder bees properly during phase 1 makes the final phase significantly easier, while poor out control can drag the fight out and overwhelm the arena with fire. Focus on clearing the elite bees quickly, avoid unnecessary healing from feeder bees, and keep repositioning during Honey Smash. Once you stay on top of arena control, Honeyzabeth becomes a straightforward DPS race.